Yes.
Where are we?
We're in Dubai.
Where?
Dubai.
Oh, on our layover.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, so let's
back up a bit.
Yes, let's talk about our flight on Emirates.
Love Emirates. They've been a favorite of ours for a while, but there was something that was very interesting about this one. There's just an overall aura about the flight. I don't know if it was the passengers, it wasn't necessarily the crew, but the crew also kind of got some vibe, it seemed,
It was
about
weird.
Passengers, and so they were a lot more reclusive than they normally are. And not to blame them, because there was some crazy weirdness going on. And a lot of Europeans,
Which we usually expect more out of.
because they travel so much and so readily, but it was almost like these particular Europeans hadn't flown before, or aren't traveling, or not aware of,
or themselves.
something. I don't know. It was very odd for as much as we travel. And
Like we say, we usually travel Emirates because it doesn't make you feel like cattle. But maybe the whole reason you get treated like cattle sometimes is because people act like cattle.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of it is people in the U.S. who don't ever travel but go to the Bahamas.
This is probably their first, second, maybe third time on a flight in the U.S. And as things change, they're not too familiar, out of their element. They seem very much out of their element, not aware.
But they fit the ugly American stereotype better than most Americans fit that stereotype. We didn't leave until 10 p.m. at night.
Yeah.
So it was a night flight. You know, you want to get some sleep. And 2 kids kicking the back of my seat. I had a British woman who was spilling over her seat into mine, even though she was a small woman. So she just kept rubbing up against me. So I put my pillow in between just so that I didn't. She was sneezing and blowing her nose and coughing. So I put the pillow in between to try to keep her from touching me. And then she got mad about the pillow. Oh, it's bothering me. And I'm like, you've been spilling over into my seat since I sat down. I'm just trying to keep you from touching me. She put her bag under my seat when she first sat down.
There's a lot of unawareness of themselves, or the travel courtesies were completely missed on this.
That kind of spilled into Emirates. We had dinner on an almost 5-hour flight.
Dinner service came at the same time. The drink, it was one cart altogether, and it was done.
And for Emirates, that is unusual.
Usually you'd have 2, 3 drink services, and then they'd come through with snacks and water. And then about 2 hours before the flight was supposed to end, the captain came over the intercom and said, Dubai airport's having severe lightning, and they said that everybody was pretty much in a holding pattern for at least an hour, that they were 50 flights behind.
Now, let's rephrase that. Yes, it was 2 hours before we were supposed to get there, right. But he's pre-warning us that once we do get there, we're going to have to wait an hour.
We're going to be circling for another hour and waiting for another 50 flights to land before ours would land.
Once that 2 hours plus the 1 hour hit, then he says the airport is closed right now, so we're still in a holding pattern. We have enough gas to circle for another hour, and so we did.
I appreciated the captain's honesty, but we had heard from a couple other passengers once we got on the ground that they were nervous because he made that announcement, and we were then an hour and a half later, and he didn't make any other announcement, so those people were freaking out that we were running out of fuel.
Oh, you did hear that?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it's like, no, that's not how it works. But
they're not going to let you run out of fuel.
But okay.
Okay, that never crossed my mind. That must have been when you were in the opposite line as I was. We finally get on land and deboard the plane, and it already says that our gate is closed.
Our gate is closed. Now, this was a tarmac offload. We had buses. Captain said that the crew was going to be showing everybody which bus to get on. So the buses all just were in one long line. And
each bus had which gates?
Different designations, but it may not have been the actual gates. It might have been, hey, this flight just landed.
pick them up.
All extra buses get over there and pick them up.
So we ended up at B gates. We were supposed to be at A. We went ahead and headed to the gate, even though it said gate closed. We got there. There's a woman at the desk. She's hollering back to the people behind saying, "The gate's still open? You all haven't closed that yet?" But then when we talked to her, she's like, "Oh yeah, the gate's already closed. You're going to have to go to customer service."
And we're sitting there looking at it. We can see the plane still.
We can see the open doors.
Still hooked up to the gate.
She sends us down to the customer service desk. There's no one really helping guide or giving information truly. You're having to stop people along the way and ask. So there's 2 lines there. One's shorter than the other, so Corey gets in the shorter line. I get in the longer line.
But you're still looking at 50 people in the main line and 5 or 6 in the other.
We were already 2 hours late, so it was somewhere around 3, 4 in the morning. Waited in line for about an hour. About by 5, Corey had gotten up to the desk, which was the wrong desk because it was the ticket rebooking for people who had missed their flight because of their own fault.
But she did get in and at least reserve and rebook, but hadn't charged us yet for those tickets.
But they told Corey that it was going to be 600 and something.
Because they had allowed supposedly they had allowed ample time for you to get from one flight to the next.
They had held the flight.
Held the flight over. And
there was no way. It said gate closed when we got off the plane.
Yeah.
Then Corey goes through his line. I'm still in my line because it's a lot longer. He joins me. We get up to the front. So they do. They arrange for us 2 nights hotel stay here at Copthorne in Dubai. And they get us on another direct flight to Orlando. So we fly back March 20th.
2 days later.
But we have no clothes, no toiletries. We have discovered Carrefour, which is supposedly the Walmart of Dubai. So we're going to get an Uber and go to Carrefour.
See if we can pick up some
just
essentials.
Underwear, and I need a little makeup. I look like death warmed over.
Here, look.
No. No, that's why I'm putting Corey on the camera. He's so much prettier than I am.
Yeah.
Always an adventure?
Always an adventure.
Okay, let's go.